Actually, we got to get this video started right. If you clicked on this video, I'm assuming it's because you want to learn just a little bit more about intermittent fasting. In this video, I'm going to talk about why intermittent fasting works. More specifically, I'm going to talk about why intermittent fasting works as a tool for weight loss. Let's get the video started. Hey guys, my name is Sid Jackson, and today we're going to talk a little bit about intermittent fasting. So intermittent fasting really is just a fancy name for something that people have already been doing for thousands of years. Every night when we go to sleep, our bodies naturally enter into a fasted state. So intermittent fasting is simply the act of extending that fast into the waking hours of the day. In fact, people practice intermittent fasting all the time without realizing it. Ever woken up late and not had time to eat breakfast? You're fasting. The difference between that and those who practice intermittent fasting daily is that they intentionally miss that first meal rather than by accident or inconvenience. Now, an interesting thing about intermittent fasting is that there's more than one way to do it. Some of the most common methods for intermittent fasting are the 16-8 method, the 5-2 method, the eat-stop-eat method, alternate day fasting, and the warrior diet. Now, of these methods for practicing intermittent fasting, the 16-8 seems to be the most common because it's the easiest to do. So if you're new to fasting and trying to find, a way to ease into it, the 16-8 method is a good place to start. It's also important to remember that intermittent fasting isn't as much a diet as it is an eating pattern. So now I want to break down some of the known benefits of fasting. Mental sharpness, optimized hormones with an increase in growth hormone and a decrease in insulin production, weight loss, lower inflammation, disease protection, and the creation of an unintentional caloric deficit, although this is not the case for everyone. So now I want to get a little bit more into some real-world examples, speaking specifically about intermittent fasting as it relates to weight loss. So there's this misconception amongst those who are new to fasting that intermittent fasting on its own is enough to facilitate weight loss. There are really two factors that you need to be cognizant of in order to determine if this will be the case for you. The first is going to be your maintenance calories. What is your total daily energy expenditure? And the second is your appetite. So if you're someone whose appetite far exceeds your maintenance calories, just because you're practicing intermittent fasting daily does not mean that you're eating in a caloric deficit. Me, for example, my maintenance calories are roughly 2,700. I would say it runs in the range of 26 to 2,700. Now, my appetite far exceeds that. So even though I fast every day, if I were to just eat whatever I wanted or eat till I was full, I would far exceed my calories, and despite the fact that I'm practicing intermittent fasting, technically, I would still gain weight. Now, for people like me whose appetite far exceeds their maintenance calories, and not necessarily far, but just exceeds your maintenance calories, that's one of the reasons that intermittent fasting can be such a great tool for weight loss. By pushing the majority of your calories to later in the day, you're able to indulge more and eat larger meals. My current calories are roughly 2,500, and for my last meal of the day, so for supper, right now I'm saving anywhere from 1,200 to 1,400 calories. Now, if you're making good choices and choosing clean, low energy dense foods, that's a lot of food. 1,200 to 1,400 calories is pretty significant. So using intermittent fasting as a tool for weight loss is great because you can enjoy larger meals, which is going to help to reduce those late night cravings and prevent you from going to bed hungry. So again, you still have to be cognizant of your total daily energy intake, i.e. how much food you're eating. So I think that when using intermittent fasting for weight loss, it's best when it's used in conjunction with an intentional caloric deficit, which is just a fancy way of saying, even if you're practicing intermittent fasting, you still need to keep track of what you eat. I also believe that when using intermittent fasting as a tool for weight loss, it's important to be less rigid. So many people are very strict about their 8 hours of feeding and their 16-hour fast. So if they get to a certain time in the day and it's past their feeding window, even if they have calories left, they won't eat. So I'm personally an advocate for practicing more of a waking fast. My total fast is still in that 14 to 16-hour window, but it varies from day to day. So instead of focusing on I start eating at the same time every day, I stop eating at the same time every day, instead I'll try to start eating around the same time every day. But as far as when I stop eating, it's gonna vary. So what I focus on is a 4 to 6 hour fast from the time that I wake up to the time that I start eating. So on most days, I'm gonna wake up between 6 and 7 a.m., which means I'll start eating between 12 and 1 typically. And what you'll find is that as your body adapts and gets used to this practice of fasting, you're not going to be as hungry in the morning. The human body is incredibly adaptive and it functions off of these environmental signals. So if you create this new environmental signal that, hey, it's 12 o'clock, it's time to eat, naturally your body is going to become accustomed to that. And instead of feeling hungry when you wake up, you're not going to get hungry until you get closer to that feeding window. So 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, if that's when you decide to start eating. So if you guys are new to intermittent fasting and new to tracking in general, I've actually pieced together a free training that's going to show you exactly what to do to get started. I'll link to that in the description below. Just go ahead and click on that link and you're going to get instant access to that. Once again, my name is Sid Jackson. If you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to throw it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.